Hi guys. I couldn't sleep tonight, so I started playing around in Second Life, and I found this train. It's reminiscent of a recent news thing that happened. Anyway, it really has me thinking. I hope y'all bear with me. I'm out of cigarettes and nicotine lozenges. Excuse me, I have no idea what time it is. It's about 5 o'clock in the morning. But here's this train. You can see if I get my camera to work. Nope. It's not going to cooperate, so bear with me, okay? Here's this train. And there's children's toys scattered here and there. All the windows are broken. The train has been destroyed. Alright. And let's see, I found there's a NASA, if I can get there somehow with my camera, there's a NASA astronaut with his mask blown off, and he's dead. Of course, you know, astronauts have to have their helmet masks, right? And then I found this Chinese woman. I think she's Chinese. And you hear all the news now, right? Everything is the Chinese are going to do this, and the Chinese are going to do that. And you can see she's holding the book with probably the frequencies that we have been experiencing all over this earth as countries and individuals. That's what those white spy balloons were about. They can't be allowed to be protectors of the earth or humanity, because we have to, right? Or whatever. I don't understand the situation. So look at her. She's looking at this busted train glass at a wall. You know, they're over there in China, and they're underneath that frequency. I haven't seen any proof or heard anything about it, but all the children have this new kind of COVID. And it has no antibiotics or anything that can cure it. And I think they're under some kind of frequency there, of the kind that I've always said that Russia and Ukraine are fighting over, that is so unethical and so dangerous and illegal that neither one can admit that it exists, right? And they've been using all that money to, it's from the Duga radar is where it started, and they've been using all that money, all those billions sent to the Ukraine to work on this, and in research and development. Now it's all over the world. It's been created into some kind of thing that the world is not ready for. And it not only affects individuals, as we can see with the Chinese children, the Chinese people. They're having to do genetic testing on all the Chinese people now, because they know what they're up against, but they can't. They're very diplomatic people, and they don't just come right out and say things. Look at that crack in her head. I've got one of those too. My neighbors love that kind of thing. It's Texas cow skulls, right? Anyway, she's in this train. It's all beat up. All the glass is broken. Right? She's practically all alone except for some guy who's looking at her. I can't tell if he's looking at her with animosity, mistrust, or what, but it's not a friendly look, right? And I'm trying in my avatar way, because I'm goofy now. I'm trying to tell her that I understand what they're going through. A lot of people do, but we can't admit it because we get hit with it too as individuals, no matter who we are. I've been hit with it several times. Too many times. I don't know how many more times I can take. But she's on this train. Remember that when I can't get that political, but there are people that understand what's going on. And there's this is just, so China is underneath to control them. They're underneath this frequency. See the earth, see the sky, and this rail station. You can see the sky. If I move the camera, will it ruin it? And this is for trying to show the world new technologies, good and bad. You know, like when they made it rain in the first Beijing Olympics, every morning just a little bit to show the world that they could, that it's possible. And then the next time, and then they had the quote and unquote. This is the only real thing I hated about Trump, was he called it the Wuhan virus. You can guarantee what country is going to set a virus free in their own country, right? That's not going to happen anywhere. It's just not realistic under any circumstance. So the last Beijing Olympics, they were shunned because of the Wuhan virus, right? Which almost destroyed their economy, their country's health, everything. Just like every other country in the world, including ours, the United States. It just about brought the whole world to its knees. And now they have to be stopped because they have the technology to let us know where this is coming from, I think. I can't prove it, but I'm thinking that's what it is. And so now China is a super enemy. I turn on the news and it's China's trying to do this and China's trying to do that. That's not true at all. China's trying to survive, just like a lot of people, just like Israel, which is also a super intelligent country. Is that the one thing they both have in common? Israel and the Israeli people and the Chinese people are incredibly intelligent and wise. I don't agree with the way the bombing has been going in Gaza. I don't agree with that. It has to be exact, like when they pinpoint my death, which I think is coming soon. Anyway, let's get away from that subject. But I can feel it. I've been ill since this June heat thing hit here. Right, and my 2-year-old cat can't even climb 2 feet high in a tree anymore. She can't even climb a foot high in a tree anymore. To be honest, she's just 2 years old. But since June, the effect that it had on us, our power went out for almost a week. So we had to sit out there and bake and had this frequency, I think, set on us because it affected us worse than anybody. We had no relief until almost the last day, and that was for an hour and a meal and a case of water. Anyway, what must the Chinese people be thinking, and what must be the Palestinian people? What do you think the average Palestinian thought? Sure, there's a few radicals that were probably jumping for joy when Hamas attacked Israel like that, so well, breaking through for 15 days, supposedly the most sophisticated and capable defense system in the world, right? And but I'm guessing, and I'm pretty sure I'm right, that almost all of the Palestinians totally freaked out. All the Palestinian people, let's always remember they are people. I bet they all freaked out when they saw what their government had done, because everybody in the world knew then and knows now how Israel would react to such an attack. And so the Hamas government over the Palestinian people that they elected used them, sacrificed the entire population. And China has always been to Asia what we used to be to the world, right? Like the saving grace of Asia. You know, if there was a problem in Asia, they would help financially, with food, with medicine, whatever they could. And this is, I'm going to jump from subject to subject because it's late. I just bought stronger coffee, and I'm out of cigarettes. And anyway, so here's this woman looking out this broken train window. The Chinese are on the train. I saw it on the news 2 years ago. I can't, for legal reasons, mention which station. It's not an American station, but they were going to take down Sri Lanka, Pakistan, and China. It was 2 years ago at least that I saw this. Sri Lanka went real fast, and they recovered. Pakistan went real fast right after that. But China was a bigger, harder country, right? Better technology, more money. And they were not our enemy at the time. But the propaganda the propaganda is everywhere. You see, like, okay, the Chinese military, the Chinese Navy is out there shooting at the Philippine Navy, right? With their battleships. And if you look at the pictures close up, it's the Chinese Coast Guard with their water guns trying to warn the Filipino people that there is some kind of electromagnetic or some kind of weird frequency thing happening in the ocean, which was true because there were earthquakes a few days or a week or something like that afterwards. And there's been several earthquakes since. China tried to warn Japan not to release that radiation water into the ocean. They released that within weeks after their summit with Biden. I don't know what deal they made. How he convinced them to release that water, that it was safe, when no matter what they say, common sense tells you it is not safe. Right? And then all those thousands or tens or hundreds of thousands of sardines washed up on the Japanese shore. Right? My cat, that was I forget how many months ago that was. 5 months ago? 6 months ago? My cat will not touch tuna fish or salmon anymore. And that was our favorite snacks together. And she will not take a single bite now of either one. She's smarter than most people. and that was our source of protein and omega-3s and whatnot, was the fish. And it's already traveled all around the world, in the rain, in the precipitation. It's in everything we touch, eat, breathe, drink. And now that I think they're using the frequency where they can actually, this is an imaginary frequency that Russia and the Ukraine are fighting over, that's so unethical and so dangerous that it can't be admitted to, right? Neither country can admit that's what it's about. So anyway, now I lost my train of thought with that. Okay. So I think they can use the electromagnetic fields and those frequencies to increase the toxicity of the radiation in different areas of the oceans, of land, of every, of people, individual cities or towns, countries, etc., etc., etc. Right? And considering what it's doing to my mentality, I get hit all the time. And considering what it's doing to my mentality, my vocabulary, my ability to think, it's just, you can't do that to nations. You can't do that to nations. And I watched the thing with NATO. I like Jens Stolten, whatever. I think he wants what's best for the world, but I think NATO is compromised too much. And I watched a thing last week when he was visiting the United States, and he was warned in a very obvious way. If anybody wants to watch, there was a container with a flag, with a NATO flag and a United States flag, and that was supposed to be in the center of the table between him and our Secretary of State of Defense, and both flags, the container holding the NATO flag and the United States flag, were pulled all the way across the table, away from Jens, over to Lloyd. There was no medium to it. There was no middle to it. So NATO, there's going to be so much happening so fast, in so many ways. And they're starting with China and Israel, because they're the most capable to identify this kind of thing. And so they have to destroy their abilities, right? Their believability, their capabilities, their abilities to think. I saw that thing work on Netanyahu during a early interview. They can do things to your thinking, and I think they've found a way to prevent that when they can. But now they're flying different diplomats like our Secretary of State. They're flying him constantly around the world, constantly, because that's when they have a chance to use that thing on him, right? They had Trump in court all day, every day, for I don't know how long, so they could use that thing, because when you're stuck in a certain area, that frequency can change. It can't be detected. It changes. It can't be detected, and it's in short bursts. So they can, if you're stuck in a certain in a room or an airplane, or country that they are using that on, you're in serious trouble. I have a picture of Trump before they just dropped the charges. I think I read this week. I took some pictures of last week when he was in New Hampshire. One day he looks like Trump, and the next day you could just see what they were doing to him physically. And the world is terrified of this, except for those that are in on it, and they just on television, televised summits and news conferences and whatnot, they let you know who's cool enough to be in on this new technology of that Russia and Ukraine started originally fighting over, that neither can admit to, that's been funded and researched and developed to something that is monstrous now. Anyway, this woman, there's nothing, there's the Chinese children. What kind of person would go and create a disease that affects only children, much less that affects the whole world, and then sets it free in China and tries to blame China for doing so? That Wuhan lab was built by the Obama administration, and they had rules to follow. And they were doing things wrong, I'm sure, that they shouldn't have been doing, that they've been trying ever since then to not allow to happen again. They just released, and I got so many negative, I mean incredibly negative responses when a few weeks ago there was a new kind of virus that it's 100% deadly, very highly contagious. It attacks the brain and the lungs. It leaves the lungs and goes straight to the brains, and then you die within a week. It's 100% deadly. China found out about this. They did their own testing on it, and they immediately sent out the information to the world so that we would know that this is there. China's been trying in all kinds of diplomatic ways for decades to warn the world of these technologies that can be used for good or bad. And right now there are some very bad people in control. Look at what's happening in Arabia, in the Middle Eastern states. And why will not one of those? I watched all the representatives of the Middle Eastern bloc, as they called it, several representatives of all those countries talk, and they never ever once mentioned considering letting the Palestinian people escape the fighting while it is going on to their countries temporarily until it can be brought under control. All the tunnels destroyed and whatnot. It will never be completely brought under control because it's Hamas. The ideology is too strong and their backing is too strong now. And but not one of those countries. There's a lot of countries around that area, and not one will allow the Palestinian people to enter their country for a temporary refuge from the war zone. We need to think about that. You don't see the news people ever mention it. It's always Israel is so terrible for trying to destroy the terrorists, right? China is so terrible now, right? If you believe any of that, you people are crazy. A lot crazier than I am, a lot crazier than I have ever been or will ever be. Because I still have a conscience and some sense of logic and, strange as it may sound, wisdom. It just takes a little bit of wisdom and humanity, you know, belief in people, until they prove that it's not worth believing anymore. And we've seen that happening in the, well, I can't get political. I just can't. I'll be like, I already had to reset my computer to start over again from factory standards a couple of months ago, and I'm not technologically gifted, so it took me forever to do that. And I still don't have it all set up right. But you people that are jumping, just like when Russia attacked Ukraine, they also said that Ukraine had several biological, at the time, they stopped saying it, but it's still true, that there were several biological labs there in Ukraine, and they couldn't say, and this frequency, this totally unethical, highly dangerous, illegal frequency thing that they're using. So now this newswoman that told me she was angry because I found her news channel in another country, and she told me, I can't quote it, it was over 2 years ago, she was irritated that I was watching her news station, and I felt like she was talking to me. She said, this is an almost exact quote, it's been a long time, so I'm going to try to be as exact as I can be. We have very powerful people in every level of government, in the world, of every level of commerce, banking, farming, just, everything was controlled by them, more or less, was what she was saying. And Hamas would not have been able to attack Israel like that and continue attacking Israel like that unless it was true. And I've been having some technological problems that verify that what she's saying is true. And that was over 2 years ago, and this is where we are now. We need to look at the world banking system. We need to look at, I hate for the only people that will be called out are the innocent, are those that might be honest, right? Are those that might be trustworthy. They will be the ones who will be called enemies and spies and whatnot, the way it is now, because our government has been taken over also. And I don't know how we'll ever be able to get our government back, our people back, to thinking in a humane way, not just about their little towns or whatever, but about the world in general, the whole world as a whole, not just my street or my town, right? You know, where I live in this little bitty town, 2,000 people, and when COVID broke out, and we weren't supposed to leave our apartments or our homes or anything or go anywhere, unless it was for like emergencies, groceries or something. These people where I live in my area, my exact area, they went shopping every single day. It was a game. And they never wore a mask. They never got COVID shots. I think there were 5 of us that got COVID shots. And we're the only ones that got COVID real bad. And, but here, they knew they weren't going to get it. And if they did, it wasn't going to be bad. Right? And that fact always freaks me out. And I would tell them you got COVID because they would have the milder symptoms, right? And I'd be close to them. I say, you got COVID. You're spreading the COVID. You're giving it to me. You're spread. They go to giving me a ride to the store. We're in a car, several of us or a few of us, and going into the store, breathing on everybody, touching everything, not ever using hand cleaners or the little things they give you to wipe the grocery cart handles. I'm the only one I know that would do any of that. I'd go in the store and I'd be the only one in a mask. The whole time we had COVID. Oh, one time I saw another guy in a mask and we looked at each other like, wow, you got on a mask. Right? But we gotta blame it on China. Now we gotta blame everything on Israel and China. Think about it. It's because of the 2 countries that are most capable of stopping what is happening. Think about it. They're very smart, they're very capable, they have knowledge, they have ancient wisdoms, they have ancient strength. They had. Let's hope that that's not destroyed. So anyway, that's my rant about this train and this Oriental woman, I think she's Chinese, holding her medical books, just staring out the train window. And the train is going into the tunnel. Yeah, I can't move my camera around to show you. The tunnel is topped with tentacles, the octopus tentacles. And, but my camera's not working right. So I'm just sending lots and lots of love to Israel, the Palestinian people, the Israeli people, the Palestinian people, and the Chinese people. And please don't let them get you into a war with Taiwan. That's what they're trying to do. All the media here is trying to do that. Don't let it happen. Don't let it happen. I don't know how, but just don't let it happen. Because that's what they want. They're trying to make you into something terrible. And I know from my own experiences with Chinese and Israeli people, I don't really think I know any Palestinian people, but I know they're people. And I know that they had to have felt pure fear when they heard that Hamas was attacking Israel like that. They knew they were being sacrificed as an entire population. and not one country near them will let them escape Gaza for a month or maybe 2 months or 3 months, however long it takes to get the fighting under control. And I do believe that Israel has a right to try to destroy all those tunnels and all those medical facilities that are, yes, I believe they are being used as hiding places for Hamas, the schools, all of that. What better places to hide? And to take out a country's children. They're good for China. They're genetically testing all the people now. And they're trying to make that sound terrible, right? That's the wisest thing they could be doing. We should probably all be doing that. I don't know how long I've been talking, but it's getting late, and I'm just sending love to the world, and please, stop the fighting. Any way you can, stop the fighting, stop the spreading of the diseases, and take those frequencies away from those assholes that have it now. They have funded it with billions and billions of dollars for years, and it's been made available to very undesirable people, as has all the top parts of our government. They've been compromised. Our government. We're not bad people. We are Americans. We normally care. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what this mentality is. We've always cared. We've never been, okay, I'm 66 years old now. And I remember when I was little, there was prejudice when I was like little. And we got over that in the 60s. And now they're bringing back, like, they have to specify black or white, right? Or do conferences for only black people or Mexican people.
But we've assumed that there's a pretty tight relationship between our perceptions and reality. If I look up and see the moon, then there is something that exists in space and time that matches what I perceive. And all I'm saying is that if you take evolution by natural selection seriously, then that is precluded. Our perceptions are there. They're there to guide adaptive behavior. Full stop. They're not there to show you the truth. In fact, the way I think about it is they're there to hide the truth, because the truth is too complicated. It's just like if you're trying to use your laptop to write an email. Right? What you're doing is toggling voltages. But good luck trying to do it that way. That's the reason why we have a user interface, because we don't want to know that quote-unquote truth, the diodes and resistors, all that terrible hardware. If you had to know all that truth, your friends wouldn't hear from you. So what evolution gave us was perceptions that guide adaptive behavior, and part of that process, it turns out, means hiding the truth and giving you eye candy.
So, what's the difference between hiding the truth and forming abstractions?
Okay, this is
layers upon layers of abstractions over low-level voltages and transistors, chips.
Maybe this is worth listening
programming languages from assembly to Python that then leads you to be able to have an interface like Chrome where you open up another instead of JavaScript and HTML programming languages that lead you to have a graphical user interface on which you can then send your friends an email. Is that completely detached from the zeros and ones that are firing away inside the computer?
It's not. Of course, when I talk about the user interface on your desktop, there's this whole sophisticated backstory to it, right? That the hardware and the software that's allowing that to happen. Evolution doesn't tell us the backstory, right? So the theory of evolution is not going to be adequate to tell you what is that backstory. It's going to say that whatever reality is, and that's the interesting thing, it says whatever reality is, you don't see it.
Okay, enough of that. That was one of my favorite people to listen to. This guy, he's incredibly intelligent and well spoken, and he interviews basically only the brightest and smartest of every kind of science, all the world leaders that he can, many world leaders. He interviews. I can't give his name for legal reasons, but it's fascinating to watch. Very interesting. You learn all kinds of science stuff, and like today he interviewed a Palestinian, and I started to watch it, but it was all the reasons why Hamas should be doing what they're doing, and Hamas should not be sacrificing the Palestinian people. I don't care what anybody says. He had a very wise Palestinian man on there about 8 months ago that actually cared about the Palestinian people. He was Palestinian, and he cared about the Palestinian people. I didn't watch the whole interview, but I would love to be able to know his thoughts about what happened and the fact that his people were sacrificed by Hamas as a whole, as an entire population. And now Xi Jinping has done more for China than imaginable. They were a poor country 50 years ago. And now, up until recently, very recently, they were able to, anytime any of their Asian neighbors needed help in any way that they could, which is a lot of ways, they were there for all their Asian neighbors. You don't see that for the Palestinian people by any of their Middle Eastern neighbors. I'm gonna go because I'm just repeating myself. But we need to stop watching our televisions, our news media. They're wasting our brains, our thought processes, our time with single-minded messaging of that's not helping anything. We need to watch our leaders, and not the pundits. They're called pundits for a reason, news pundits. We need to watch our world leaders, our banking leaders, our technology leaders. We need to pay attention. The commerce, that's fixing to become worse than the COVID commerce situation, isn't commerce? The way you get food and supplies around the world. And I I mean, this is just a thought I have that I can't prove or anything, but I'm thinking that they figured out a way to damage the foods and medicines and even the water and whatnot that are being transported to these countries that depend on these ships. I was just joking with a neighbor a couple of days ago that I thought they were microwaving the back half of my apartment where the kitchen is, probably my food, and my avocados a couple of days later that wouldn't ripen for 2 or 3 weeks, they rotted in a day, overnight. One of them was finally edible, and I opened it up and it had rotted from the inside out. So I was right. But of course that's a ridiculous thing, isn't it? But I was right, and I guess I just gotta throw the whole bag of avocados away. I don't even want to open another one now. Anyway, so I figured, probably my needs, everything, are ruined. Everything in the refrigerator, everything on the shelves. Anyway, good luck, world. Try to work together. Try not to hate. Try to understand. And don't be a part of this monstrous frequency electromagnetic thing that I know a lot of the world governments have right now. Not a few, but a lot. It's everywhere. Good luck, world. I would say peace. I want to say peace. I'm just going to say I care. Maybe peace might be possible. The last time I made a video about peace was the week before Russia invaded Ukraine. That was a long time ago. And I felt like such a stupid, foolish, silly, hopeful idiot, right? But there's a way. If everybody wants peace, we will have peace. If everybody wants good health for everybody else, we will have that. It's possible. And China has gone much further than any other country to let the world know when good things are possible and when bad things are being invented. That's why they're our enemy now. And all I hear all week long is terrible things about China. This is my favorite costume, my Chinese costume. And I just realized a few months ago, my mailbox by my front door has Chinese eyes. Yeah, I have a picture of it on my phone somewhere. It's not the best picture, but I thought, wow. So anyway, please think peacefully. Help the Palestinian people to escape the fighting until the necessary fighting is over. You can't just let Hamas shut down Israel. That's not gonna happen, if at all possible. But it looks like it might be possible because from what I see, and China, because they invent medicines and they do things that are good. They really do. Both countries. Anyway, take care, world. try to protect each other. This is me signing out. If I can